This is the Trusted Referral Network. We are a network of about 170 marketing professionals, marketing services providers. That includes advertising and sales, although I would say the meat of it is folks that do marketing either as solopreneurs or as small agencies. The concept here is that we all sort of understand the marketing world, at least we should. And so when we talk about our own expertise, people are more likely to understand what it's all about, and also more likely to be able to think of somebody who might be a good referral. So we meet weekly, alternating between Tuesday evenings tonight and Wednesday mornings. Next week, it'll be Wednesday at 11. We always encourage guests to come check us out. Right now, membership is free. When I get my new version of my platform up, I'll probably roll over the 6-month trial. After that, it'll be $360 a year, which gives you access to all these meetings, a listing on the site, and a bunch of other things like being eligible to be part of a local chapter, which is also something that we want to start soon. And at these meetings, we give somebody an opportunity to do a showcase about 15 minutes. And today, Rochelle Lisner is going to speak, and she'll tell you all about that. I will time it and tell you at the 10-minute mark when you have 5 minutes left. I'll give you a fair warning there. And then after that, everybody has sort of two minutes, let's say today. Introduce yourself. What do you do? How you can help other people, where your real expertise lies, and what you're looking for, if anything in particular. And I do encourage you to pick one person or two people off today's meeting list to set up a call with, a follow-up call. Somebody who piques your interest, might be somebody you think you could refer business to, or might be a good lead source for you, and take it from there. So make sure you drop your LinkedIn in the chat. So 15 minutes. Rochelle, I'm going to give you, if everybody else would go on mute, back on mute, that would be great. And I will tell you when you've gotten to 10 minutes and you have 5 left. Do you want to take questions during, after, chat only?
No, I'll take it at the end. This way, I'll just speak casually, and then we'll do some Q&A at the end. That'd be great.
Okay, and if people want to drop questions in the chat so we remember them, that's fine too. Thanks.
It's also great.
Go for it.
Okay, here we go. So good evening, everyone. I'm Rochelle from Dynamic Business Growth, and I always say it's dynamic business growth and not schlep along business growth. So, we're all here. We're kind of coming out of COVID. We've got to put one foot in front of the other, and it's time to really do some meaningful business. So one of the areas that I find that companies across the board really struggle with is, how do you speak about your business in a compelling way? So what are some of the notorious, what I would say no-nos of what a lot of people do? Number one, generic. They're so generic that it's unbelievable. They cast the largest net in the entire world. So the idea is you don't get a sense of anybody's high level expertise. What I want to know when you speak about what you do, I want to know, how do you pull a rabbit out of a hat? What is the extraordinary gift and skill that you do? What is your superpower? That based on that, I'm going to get to see your skill set. So I want to give you like a little, I always use this as a metaphor. So hang in with me here. I believe that there are two types of architects. There's an architect that, needless to say, my artistic abilities are slim to none. But let's pretend. So you can have an architect that can put up a 4-family house in Brooklyn. Nothing wrong with that. Or you can have the architect that puts up the Freedom Tower. A little bit of a difference between the two. Number one, the skill set is very different. The person that puts up the Freedom Tower has gone through things that the 4-family house doesn't even know exists. And not only that, if you can imagine, the pay is quite a different structure. There's a couple of zeros that are more involved with the Freedom Tower. But what I find that in businesses, there are so many companies that I work with that have been in business for a long extended period of time. They have extraordinary skills. They have what I call freedom tower skills. However, they present themselves like the four-family house in Brooklyn. And the problem with that is you can't get your fees. The fees that you're charging is not even close to the fees that you can get because you're not highlighting your skill level and you're not highlighting the impact that you've made with a particular client. And I always say, not only do you have to speak about your benefits, but you have to speak about the benefit of the benefit. What's the ripple effect of what you do and how does it change the companies that you're working with? So it's really important. Language is a great way so that we can get clear on what you do. So for example, I want you to go from unclear to unforgettable. Now, most people are, as I said, they're generic, long-winded, they speak very common, and they speak in their industry jargon. Now, that's a big no-no because, if let's just say marketers, if we speak in industry jargon to another marketer, that's great. It's the closest way to create connection. But if you're speaking to somebody out of your industry, they don't even know what you're talking about. They don't want to look like an idiot, so they'll pretend that they do. But the reality is they're not clear. So I don't want that to happen for any of us here. And there are 3 parts to an amazing pitch. Now, pitch is an elevator pitch that you can use in your social situations, in your business situations. And a pitch is longer. If you have to do, let's say, a pitch for, if you're looking for funding, boy, do you need a great pitch. If somebody's going to write you with, a check for a couple $100,000, boy, do they need clarity there. And just, in your pitch, if you're selling your product to your clients, you got to get clear there. And there's 3 parts. Number 1 is your catch. You've got to catch someone's attention. Number 2, you must tell a compelling story. And I always say, when you are talking about your business, are you storytelling or boring telling? So hopefully we can get people to be a little more storytelling. And the last is you need a call to action. If you don't tell somebody what to do, they will do 0. They won't do anything. We kind of like nudge them along and see, you know what, either have a call with me, reach out to me. Let's see what I can do to guide you and support you. So those are the areas. And a lot of the problems that people have is their language. If I hear one person say, my name is John Smith, I'm in Midtown Manhattan, and I'm with the company for 25 years, and we give great service. If I hear great service one more time, what does great service mean? It's so generic. If you give great service, you're coming to my apartment and you're going to vacuum because I have more, dog hair than you can imagine with my 3 dogs. Let's not speak in these common, these common terms that everyone says. Give me an example of what you're doing that will excite me. So in general, a few times a year, I just had a cohort recently. I have a program called the Ultimate Power Pitch, and it's also the Ultimate Power Pitch for positioning. I want to know, are you the 4-family house in Brooklyn, or do you have the skill set for the Freedom Tower? And therefore you can charge accordingly. So if you are thinking of a sales team that struggle with expressing themselves, solo practitioners in any imaginable industry, especially ones that are in competition, the ones that are notorious for the worst are people in the financial, like financial planners and people that sell insurance. Those are the ones that really are notorious that need help. When you're dealing with insurance, that, I had a client that says, you know what, I can't get anybody to come, to meet me for an appointment. And I'm listening to him and I said, I can see why. You're telling somebody that you have to have, you're working for retirement, you need disability insurance, you need long-term care insurance. So I don't see why I'm going to wake up and make an appointment for you if you're going to tell me I'm broken on my way to being crippled. Hello. Let's kind of paraphrase that and create some excitement so that somebody's going to want to work with you. Let's say something, you worked really hard. Let's get some excitement into your long-term finances so that you can travel, that you can play. So there's other ways of saying what you do in a way that's much more charismatic, and more important, it sticks. There's emotion to it, and you are memorable. And that's what I really believe we should all strive for. So that's my my overview very quickly. And if we have any questions, please reach out. What can I answer from anybody that's here at the moment?
So Rochelle, got plenty of time. Anybody
Oh.
have no questions in the chat that I could, although Zev had a comment.
I have a question.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
David,
Go ahead.
go for it.
Yeah,
Nope.
so Rochelle, thank you for that presentation. It was very clear. Specifically, if we were to tell you, if you were to tell us who you want us to introduce you to right now, who is it that you're looking to get introduced to?
2 lanes. Number one, anybody that's a sales manager that's got a sales team under him, that's huge. And the other one is solo practitioners. Solo practitioners or small business owners, because solo practitioners blend. They blend with everybody else in their industry. So if they're an accountant, they're a solo practitioner, or, 1 or 2 practice, they have 1 or 2 people in their practice. These small businesses they're very good at what they do. They're not as good in articulating it in a way that has any kind of appeal. So that would be, if we are all involved and we work with small businesses as the head of the company or the person that does business development on their behalf. So it's great. Thank you. Now, I also have a sweet spot for family-owned businesses. That has a whole different issue. So I love working with family-owned businesses because they have to come into the new modern age, and there's a lot of conflict with that. So old generation, new generation, and we got to get them aligned so that they can work together.
Thank you.
Anybody else have a quick question or, something about their own pitch that they may need a little guy? We got to make it fun and funny.
Anybody?
Rochelle, I'll ask you a question that probably doesn't have an answer. So when I pitch my business and I work on a monthly retainer, I was very interested in what you said about undervaluing what we do, because I am constantly being nickel and dimed when I'm negotiating. And I've had people say, well, if they undervalue you, walk away. But it's very difficult to walk away when you need the billing, right?
Depends how you say what you're talking about. We have to be telling stories about how did we pull a rabbit out of a hat, and we have to monetize it. So if somebody's nickel and diming you, I don't know, let's just say a retainer of what, 5,000. We've got to be able to say that in my experience, my accounts that are working with us for $5,000, the return on that is whatever the return on that. And let me show you how we did that. People are afraid to part with their money because they're afraid that they're not going to get the result. So when you can speak confidently about the result, they either want the result or they don't. And if they want the result that you can offer them, and if you've given them examples of that result, and more important, you monetize it. So I'll give you a great example. I work with somebody, she does the most extraordinary PowerPoints, and she was charging whatever she was charging. And I looked at her and I said, you're out of your mind. I mean, she was charging, let's say, $10,000. This PowerPoint was being used by a sales team in order to bring in quota by 5 different sales representatives. This particular PowerPoint was responsible for $500,000 worth of revenue. You don't charge $10,000 for that. She did another presentation for A&E, and they were pitching their programming in a conference. That particular PowerPoint was responsible for millions of dollars in ad sales. And you're charging $10,000? I don't think so. So I literally rewrote how she had to speak about what she does, and she practiced it with me. And she tripled her fees. She should even go higher than that. But if you're not confident and you can't monetize it, it's a whole different ballgame. We've got to put numbers to anything.
Would like to be introduced to her.
It's great.
Okay.
So again, what are we doing? How are what are we doing and how are we saving the day? And here's the thing that I'd like us all to think about, and this could also go in a pitch. And you not only do you want to tell somebody what is the result and how you're saving the day, you really want to speak into COI, which is almost as important as the other. COI is the cost of inaction. So by not moving forward, what are you risking? What are you risking? So let's just say they're arguing with you for, I don't know, let's say $10,000. What's $10,000 over the course of? You got to like get clear on that. What are you risking? You're over $10,000. You're risking da 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 da. You got to like say inaction. People think that not taking action is neutral, and there's no such thing as neutral. You're either moving forward or you're moving behind. And if you're moving behind, this is going to really bite you in the tush, and you got to really, create that language for them that they recognize that there is no choice but to move forward today. There's no comfort zone anymore. COVID took care of that. So how do we tell a story that we're Freedom Tower? We're not the four-family house. And if we're speaking like everybody in our industry, you're the four-family house. And the last thing I want to leave somebody with is you've got to be very, very, very careful when you tell somebody how many years you're in business. Got to be really careful. Because, and I'll tell you why, and if you tell somebody you're doing something for 20 years or for 30 years, unless you tell me why that's important, you've just positioned yourself as the Flintstones and not the Jetsons. And the reason I know this is family-owned businesses bring me in because they're in business for 50 years and they're stale and nobody wants to work with them because they're stale. So most of these companies would rather work with somebody that's in business for 8 to 10 years, that has enthusiasm, that's on trend, than somebody that's been doing something for like 30 years and is very stale in their approach. So we've got to be careful. I'm not telling you not to say it, but you have to say it with a reason as to why it's important. Because if not, we're just positioning ourselves as old timers and people won't write us a check.
All right,
I have
got
a
1
question.
minute left. Go ahead, go for it.
Can I
Yeah.
ask the question?
Yes,
A
please.
lot of us here use case histories to talk about how great we are at our businesses. But someone said to me once, very astute person said, "I've never heard a bad case history." Everyone's got a great case history.
But again, you've
So-
got to tell, well, it depends how you tell the story. Do you tell it as a case history? You tell it as a story.
Well, to
History
tell the
is
story,
boring.
everyone's story will sound, they make it
No, a
sound really
story is
fantastic.
different. Imagine walking into a room and you're a business owner and this is chaotic. And they've tried for 5 years to pull this off. And they've gotten one disappointment after another disappointment after another disappointment. And we finally dug deep and found we found the one area in their marketing that was ignored. And because it was ignored, they still suffered or they didn't get the return. And let me tell you what we did. Now, either they want the result or they don't. Now, if somebody will always look for the negative, then they're not your client. You've got to be telling a story that relates to the pain that they're going through.
Yes, it helps to know what the pain is exactly.
And you got to say the pain, not a case study. A case study is information overload. It's information. I came to this plumbing company. I raised their whatever by $100,000. That's numbers and it's information dump. I want to know the story.
People
And
are really
ideally-
reluctant to tell you the pain points, but
Right.
all right, go ahead. So
So
sorry.
that's what I'm saying. We've got to tell the story has emotion, and emotion really grabs people.
All right, good. Thank you. That is the 15 minutes. Thank you for the interactive questions toward the end. For those people who stepped up and broke through the silence, appreciate it. So Rochelle, thanks again. I will put in the chat more or less the order in which people showed up, and we'll do presentations in that order. I'm going to keep it to 2 minutes. I have my little timer here, my handy dandy timer. I'm also going to leave the presentation in speaker mode so that the speaker is highlighted for the recording. So if everyone else would go on mute, we'll start with Mark, Herre, Rajiv, Jadhav, Graham, Riley, and then on from there. By the way, take a look here. If I missed your name, ping me because I'll add it. Okay, Mark, Herre, take it away.
I love being first. My name is Mark Herre, and I run a company called SEO Game. Search Engine Optimization is the name of the game. I decided that I wanted to focus on the component of basically challenging get websites on the first page of Google in a game format, not SEO games with a plural, because that's another method of taking advantage of people's livelihoods and playing games with them. My SEO game services are white label only. So I do SEO for SEO companies. I handle their fulfillment on 30-day trials and performance-based only. And I've been doing that for as long as I've been out of college. And I don't look like I'm in college anymore. So one of the stories that I like to do is I like to get referrals from people like you who know a digital marketing company. And I recently have an app for that. Somebody was mentioning about my app, so I'm going to put that in the comments. And I would challenge anyone to download my referral app and introduce me to a digital marketing company that wants an SEO strategy for their business and fulfillment with performance-based SEO. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Okay, and Mark was working with a referral for a while, as he was mentioning. A referral from mine, but unfortunately it fell through, but we'll keep on delivering. All right,
Keep trying.
next up is Rajiv.
Thank you, Michael. I often get asked these questions about bad press and bad reviews. So here's some data points that I think you might find interesting. 50%, not 50, 50% of all the bad reviews that you see online are a case of mistaken identity. It means that the customer posting these reviews is in a highly triggered state, and they're posting the review on a business that they're finding online. And 50% of the time, it's the wrong business. It's a case of mistaken identity. That's one side of it. Now, here's another data point. 25% of reviews against businesses are done by unscrupulous douchebag competitors. 25%. So when clients ask me, Rajiv, tell me, like, do you have any moral dilemma in doing what you do, which is deleting bad reviews and bad press from Google? I say no. Why? Because of this reason. 50% is completely false, it's irrelevant. 25% is by competition. So you're left with 25%, which might be true. Because as you know, many difficult people in the world today, and you can't make everyone happy. So that allows for me to sleep amazing at night. Some people say, Rajiv, how do you sleep at night? I said, I sleep like this. I'm a side sleeper. That's how I sleep at night. So that's what I do. I delete bad press and bad reviews from Google. And my ask is to meet more marketing people, since we are very agreeable to be white labeled or do a revenue share for any referrals that we receive. Thank you again for your attention, and I'll drop my LinkedIn in the chat.
Cool. Thank you. Let's see. Graham Riley, then Stacey, then Alan. Graham, you're up.
Hey, hello everyone. Thank you, Michael. My name is Graham Riley from Maverick, North America. We systematize the business development and lead generation process for solo entrepreneurs through to Fortune 500 companies, leveraging their LinkedIn presence. And to play off Rochelle's presentation, what we're looking to solve is two problems. How are you inserting yourself into somebody's attention span, the audience or the community that you wish to serve? And then once you have their attention, how are you differentiating what you do above and beyond what others have to offer? We take a very people-centric approach to LinkedIn, meaning that we treat it like an in-person networking event. And so the behaviors of the profiles that we are managing, we are managing them in a polite, professional, and courteous way. And instead of sharing, this is what we do, what we share is, are you facing these problems? And so what we want to be known for from both ourselves and for our clients is that we're the subject matter experts in your pain points. And we're going to not wait for permission to become a trusted advisor or a strategic consultant. We're going to share our education with you freely. And for everyone on this call, every Tuesday at 2:30, we offer educational webinars and resources on LinkedIn as to how to boost and enhance your presence. Thank you, Michael. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, Graham, send me that information. I'll put it in the newsletter, like the link or whatever it is for your webinar. Cool. Okay, thank you. That was your 2 minutes. Alan, I'm sorry, Stacey, then Alan, then Zev. Stacey, you're up. She's not having technical difficulties.
Yes,
Getting
no.
Go
Hi,
for
my
it.
name is Stacey Mathis, and I own a website called Legal Copywriting Central, and we craft copy and content for any type of business in the legal industry that needs copy and content to market their business. It can be a bar association, a law firm, a legal magazine, a tech company that primarily works with law firms or other brands in the other types of companies in the legal arena. And we craft everything from websites to brochures, landing pages, blog posts, magazine articles, press releases. Like I said, anything you use to market your business. Not long ago, someone asked me, a guy who owns he's the CEO of a digital company, and he found me on Alignable. It's another site. It's sort of like LinkedIn. And he reached out to me for an intake or consultation, whatever you want to call it. And so we were talking, and while we were talking, he asked me, so legal copywriting, like what makes you like different from everybody else who does legal copywriting? And that's something I ask everybody else. So it's like, oh, okay. So I thought about it. And, I said, it's like Rochelle was saying, it's about emotion for me. I don't care how stuffy the practice area you're in. You could be doing aeronautical engineering, tax law. I have to connect with you emotionally, the person, the lawyer, the partner, the person who's pulling the purse strings, the decision maker, and the end user. The end user being the secretary or whoever's inputting. Let's say it's a tech company and they're trying to sell services to software to a law firm. I want to connect with that secretary, that paralegal who's putting in the time for the lawyer or entering the data. Why? Because, she's the person who has, in the legal industry, everybody has a lot of influence, including the secretary, because they have to keep it working like a well-oiled machine. So they do take input from folks. So that secretary who's putting in this time for the lawyer, who's now got to go to a little league game, and she's got to get there on time because she just got divorced and now she's on her own to get to this little league game because she can't depend on her husband. She's got to get this time entered. That's who's in my head when I'm writing the copy. It's everybody involved in using the product or the service. And then I take all of this stuff and I put Post-its and clipboards and oak tag in the middle of my living room floor, diagrams, and I look for the picture and I look for the story. And then I memorialize this. I put this in a neat package and I give it to my writer. And as Rochelle told me maybe 10, 15 years ago, I give it to my writer and I tell them, go to marketing war. Bring me back some copy by this deadline. And that's what makes me different. Stacey, Legal Copywriting Central. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stacey. Great presentation. Alan, then Zev, then Bryce.
All right, thank you, everybody. Back, way back, a galaxy far away, when I started in PR, there were the only way we got articles was in newspapers and magazines that were actually made of paper. And when we wanted to send those press clips over to our clients, we had to either messenger them or put them in a wet fax. So my business has evolved significantly since then. I now own a PR firm. I worked in-house for a long time. I've had my PR firm for almost 20 years. We work a lot in media and entertainment, but also we work with startups. We have a healthcare startup right now. We work in nonprofits. So we're generalists, but the business has changed so dramatically. Over the years, when we started our agency in 2003, there was no paid content per se. There were no influencers. There was no social media. These days, social media is a huge part of our business. If we didn't do social media for our clients, we wouldn't have a business. We also, influencer campaigns is a huge part of what we do. The point is that people come to us and they still want that core PR. They still want that old school PR from decades ago where they get an article in a newspaper, even though nobody's reading newspapers. It still means a lot to them. But in order for us to be successful, we need to position ourselves as a marketing firm. For that healthcare startup that I mentioned, I'm essentially their ad hoc CMO. I've built a marketing team to help them launch their business. So if we don't do it ourselves, we have third parties that do it. So I'm looking for people that I can go to when I need that third party support across a wide spectrum of marketing services. I'm also looking to meet people, particularly startups who are launching businesses who are looking for marketing support, PR, social media, and the other things that I mentioned. If that is of interest to you, either partnering with me or if you have a potential client or a contact that you think might need my services, let me know.
Thank you so much. Good timing. And yes, Zev is next, then Bryce, then Melinda. And Zev, I did have you twice on the list, so I'm giving you the earlier one.
No worries. Great to meet you all. I'm the founder of ZEV Media. It's a content marketing and advertising digital marketing agency. Without going into the whole story, I got into content writing over 10 years ago. I was always into writing, and I still do a lot of the content writing and really any kind of copywriting that needs to be done. But over the last few years, working with a team, we've expanded into other things like content distribution, and really our focus is on driving any kind of outcome that a client needs, whether that is traffic, sales, leads. That's what we're focused on, driving those outcomes. And basically, we work with a number of verticals, but the ones we've kind of really worked the most with have been e-commerce, healthcare, and service businesses. I'm also, I guess I would describe myself as a social media kind of obsessed. That was kind of how I went from content writing to also getting into digital advertising, and a ghostwriter. I guess I just have a lot of interests, but we really do all of those services, whether it's ghostwriting a CEO's LinkedIn profile, or it's driving sales for a company on e-commerce. Together with my team, that's what we do. And someone here said something about white labeling, and I've been doing that for a number of years. And I've been solopreneur doing this full time for about 4 years. I have a lot of experience of being the person who's white labeled on top of, and vice versa. And that's what I'm in here. I think it's all about people. It's all about partnerships, trusting, collaboration, and who better than your fellow marketers to do that with.
Thank you. And do you do writing for search engine optimization as well?
I do. Yeah, really any kind of writing. Because I started for years doing mostly like blogging for company websites and web copy. And it just branched out from there into doing other kinds of writing as well, like company social media posts or individuals' LinkedIn posts and things like that.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Bryce, all the way from Vancouver. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, man. Long range, always good to be back. So my name is Bryce Wade. I'm VP of Sales for Mind of a Marketer. And building off of what Rochelle and Stacey said, we kind of think of what makes companies unique as your MDP, or market dominating position. So what makes you unique, special, faster, sexier, thinner, whatever, like the actual things that you can specifically point to that make you unique. And once you actually have that, how do you get views and eyeballs and your target audience on your content that espouses what these unique things are that make you unique, right? And so I'd like to show you something that's really unique, because that's what we do. Nope, that's not what I want to show. So what if I could sell you $120,000 for $25,000 every year, right? So what I'm showing you here is this is 73,000 people and 1 million impressions and $300,000 that was spent on Google ads that this company didn't pay for. So we have a process called Infinite Google, where we can basically get $10,000 a month of Google ad spend for free for a nonprofit, for a for-profit company using a nonprofit structure. And what that basically means is that we have a turnkey solution that it essentially becomes a cheerleader for your company, right? So if I went to you and said, hey, I am the most amazing thing on the block, you roll your eyes and say, yeah, whatever, bro. That's you talking about yourself. But if I go to you and say, hey, Michael is the biggest badass on the block, you're like, oh wow, this Michael guy is, might be somebody to talk to, right? And so what the offer is really simple. So if you or any of your clients have somebody that would want to get a huge opportunity for using Google ad spend at a much reduced rate, let me know and we'll have a chat.
Very cool. Thank you very much. Bryce always has, with the mind of a marketer, always has some cool tricks of the trade. And he and the founder are marketing tech geniuses, or maybe his founder is, but Bryce can sell anything, particularly good stuff. All right. That was Bryce. Next up is Melinda, and then David, Libby, and then Craig.
All right. Hi, everyone. It's so nice to meet you. I am Melinda Thomas, and I deliver creative jolts to businesses that have run out of juice, run out of ideas. Have you ever wanted someone to just come up to you and tell you what your customer is actually thinking and what they want? Have you ever wanted someone to just give you some ideas for your next campaign or your next conference? Those are the kind of things that I work with companies on. I help them to break through the norm and come up with something that stands out. And that can be in the form of, as I said, conference, it could be a campaign, but I am all about human to human business. And I'm not just talking marketing, I'm talking about human to human business. And I talk to companies about the customer experience. The keynotes that I do are about customer experience with examples of companies that go above and beyond and really stand out without a huge budget, but with great humanity, and makes their bottom line huge. And who doesn't want a huge bottom line? So that is what I do. I'm looking for opportunities to speak at conferences or in breakout sessions for conferences or at meetings. I'm looking for an opportunity to share ideas for businesses to stand out in companies and in industries where there's a lot of sameness. Much like what Rochelle was talking about, industries where there's just so much sameness. Like, let's stop that.
So is it focused on marketing strategy or more design? What's your?
It's focused on business strategy, but touches marketing, the customer experience. So all of the above.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. And we should definitely connect offline or online, but off this line. All right.
All right.
Next up is David, Libby.
All right. Hey, everybody. I'm David Libby at twopins.com. So Greg Gianforte is the 25th governor of Montana. Before that, he was the CEO of Right Neck Technologies, and he was my client. I was on his public relations team. And one evening he walked up to me and got in my face and he said, Salesforce is beating the crap out of us. How do we catch up? And I looked at him and said, no one else is wearing cowboy boots and a cowboy hat to a meeting but you. So through a very strategic communications program, we managed to get Greg's company behind Salesforce at its IPO, turning right now into one of the top 5 IPOs of that year. And then soon after, Greg's company, Right Now Technologies, look it up, was sold to Oracle for $1 billion. So by God, if that guy does not become president of the United States one day, he has a drive that no one else does. Politics aside, it was a great client. And since then, I've been working with people like Greg and other emerging technology leaders to help them reposition or position their companies on value to find product market fit, get their customers talking, to get more customers. And all that retention leads to attention, which is IPO, acquisition, and other big events. So if you're looking for someone to do your friends' public relations, content, and strategy, our firm does that. We partner with other PR firms nationwide. We also have very lucrative relationships with 2 German PR firms that we're working with on their German clients to bring them into the US. One of the accounts is starting tomorrow. It's very exciting and really a lot of fun. So thanks so much, Michael, for hosting and for having me here this evening.
Was Greg Gianfanti the guy who attacked the journalist, or was that somebody else?
Yep, he was the one that jumped over the table and smacked the journalist. Yep. But way back when I worked in Hollywood, we represented Zsa Zsa Gabor, and she slapped a cop. So I was well prepared to handle Greg and his smack.
Exactly.
All that media attention. It's great.
I won't mention anything except for maybe he needs Rajiv, or maybe not. Maybe that's part of his persona. All right, let's see. Next up, Craig Leonard, then Lynn, then Faith.
All right. First, thank you for Michael. By the sounds of it, a number of us do similar work. So I'm going to focus a little bit on work that I do. So long story short, my name is Craig Leonard. My company is called Craig Thoughts. And I work with a number of people who are in transition and are looking to change jobs, change careers. It's often the case that they're wondering, how do I translate what I've been doing for the past 20, 30 years to what I want to be doing in a new career? And I'm not a career coach by any means, but I can help with the LinkedIn side. Have spent the past few years becoming more of an expert on it and going to webinars and brushing up on all the different features on there and helping people make the most of the platform and attract interest from their ideal companies, executives, HR, and the recruiters that are on the platform just about every day. In addition to job candidates, I'm also looking to connect with any lawyers or people in construction. And again, my name is Craig, and thank you. I appreciate it.
Lawyers and construction. Okay.
Yes, kind of an odd combination, I know.
Okay. So you've helped those people with their LinkedIn in particular stand out.
Yeah, coaches, consultants as well.
Okay. Coaches and consultants. Very cool. Thank you so much for coming. And you're in New York? Where are you based?
I'm in northern New Jersey, about 30 miles west of New York City.
That's right. Morris County or somewhere like that, right?
That's right.
All right. Thank you. Next up, Lynn, then Faith, then Jeff. Lynn Donaldson, take it away. You're probably on mute. You still around?
There's one person left. I wonder if that was her.
It might have been Lynn. Yeah. Okay.
I don't see her right now.
Okay. So Faith Tomases. I'll get it one of these days.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hi, my name is Faith Tomases, and as you can see, I'm calling from the scenic bowels of a New York City rent stabilized apartment. This is my terrace that I have to climb out the window to get to. I am a business creative and essentially a messenger, and I help clients articulate their message and deliver it. So some people call that being a writer. I am a writer. I do name development. I'm also a brand strategist and communications planner with helping people really see what it is they want to say and what do they want to be when they grow up, and then translate that into words. And my specialty is being to the point and as succinct as possible, which is really important for web work and also for name development. And I work directly with clients and also in conjunction with other professionals. So Alan, let's talk about how I could be a resource for you. And I'm a generalist. I've got experience in all kinds of stuff: cookies, toys, financial services, racetrack betting, very flexible. And that's a good summary, I guess.
Thank you. And you are the person who came up with the name of Icon Parking, if I remember correctly.
Yes, New York City.
That's right. And one of the requirements was it had to be short and look good vertically.
Correct. And fit into existing signage.
Into existing sign.
Having only 4 letters was quite a good solution.
It's usually 4 letters plus the logo. I know the I in the circle or something like that.
It's in this, it's, I think, no, it's plus the logo.
Plus the logo.
Yeah.
Love it. All right. Thank you so much. Moving on. Jeff, Linder, and Rafer.
Everyone. Hello, everyone. In case you don't know who I am, I'm my agency. I have an advertising agency, Fresh Branding Group. I come from the big advertising agency world of New York. That means that some of the brands that I've worked on are very, very big brands, the biggest of them all. In food and beverage, there was Hershey and Campbell's and Kraft and all the subsidiary brands that they owned. When it came to OTC Pharma, I was Excedrin and Neosporin and Listerine, and I've also done a bunch of work in wine and spirits, things like Absolute Vodka and things like that. I started Fresh Branding Group in 2007. I actually, after working at all these big agencies, I got a little brush up and help and understood what digital is all about. I learned to write websites. I learned to do banner ads. I did learn to do all of that stuff. And let me tell you, I didn't like it. I really didn't like it. And I want to tell you why. And this goes back to what Rochelle was talking about. I like stories. And that's what television is all about. And that's what makes you not go to the bathroom when the commercial comes on. So we do all those things that we need to do for our clients, but we really specialize in this thing called television. And yes, people are still watching tons of TV. Promise. It's really, there's nothing more effective than television. And what that means is, for us, we need customers, clients who can afford not just to pay us to come up with our strategic expertise and create a wonderful creative, because the creative is really what it's all about, create advertising, but also to pay for the media. We don't do media. We can direct clients to media companies, but clients will need to be able to pay that sort of money. So our customers, clients tend to be not giant companies. We're not talking about Kraft. We're not talking about Hershey and so forth. We're talking more about sort of smaller companies, but they know that if they want to compete, they need to do television. It's critical. They just can't exist without it.
And so, Jeff's talent is, I guess, in a nutshell, explained by all of the awards behind his, looks like your left shoulder.
Yeah, well, it's not really for you guys. It's for when the clients, tune in. Exactly. And it's like, of course, I positioned them perfectly. So, oh, you won a couple awards? Yeah, a couple.
Just a couple.
So anyway, that's Fresh Branding Group.
Thank you so much. All right, we're getting toward the end here. Rafer, then Michael.
Hey, everybody, I'm Rafer Weigel, WMG Communications. I love hearing everybody's their why and their technique. And Michael, thanks for having me. Jeff, I'm going to take it a step further. You say that TV is crucial. I'm going to say video is crucial. Melinda, you said that you like to help people break through the norm. I say we help people break through the noise. I am a recovering journalist. Rajiv has been direct messaging me, telling me to pick up the Emmy and show it. Those I actually got out of a thrift store, but no, I'm kidding. Those are mine. So I like to say I'm a recovering journalist. Normally, I would say I'm a full service marketing agency, PR. We just got somebody on WGN TV today in Chicago. SEO, website design, social media management. But for the purposes of this group, that's not my lane. All those people that do that for me are power partners. At the end of the day, I'm a storyteller and a visual storyteller and a damn good one. But I don't believe in one and done. If you're not doing video as part of your marketing strategy, you're leaving money on the table. We are a visual society. My teenage son is on YouTube constantly. And if you are not on YouTube and aren't doing storytelling videos on your digital channels consistently, quality and quantity content, he will not know who you are when he makes those buying decisions. So we really like to get granular in terms of what is the story, find out exactly what it is that makes you different. Rochelle, you asked what's the superpower. The hardest story I ever had to find was a Persian rug store in Evanston, and we found it and we told their story, and they doubled their business as a result of that for putting it on their website. Another gentleman talked about SEO. It helps with SEO. So I have a very narrow and thin lane, and I like to stay in it. And I'm here because I want to meet with other, people who are exceptional at what they do in the PR space, in the marketing space, in the website design space, so that I can do what I love to do, which is I love to go on location or do it remotely, find out what the story is, interview the person, craft it, create it, and create multiple assets, not just one and done. Do several for your website, for your social media, and then give it to other people who are adept at bringing visibility to those assets. I like to make the tree fall in the forest. I rely on other people to make it make a sound. So thank you so much for having me here, Michael. I'm grateful to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming. And we should definitely chat again. Okay. Michael Falato, and then I will go.
Hello, so I'm Michael Falato. I do LinkedIn and email automation and basically send out about 20,000 emails a month, about 150 emails a day. To be able to do that safely, cheaply, and efficiently is not easy to do. I figured out how to do a repeatable and scalable process approach. Have basically got my company up to almost $90,000 MRR a month. And I'm probably signing another 5 clients in the next week. So things are going really well. And I'm not kind of based on how much.
I muted you by mistake. I was trying to mute somebody else. Unmute yourself.
So what I've added recently is basically roundtables. Roundtables is something that I did today. Michael joined. It's similar to this. We're doing a little strategizing around lead gen and top of funnel and what works and what doesn't. So it went pretty well. I've ways to automate that approach to add more people. I'm actually going to show Michael a little bit some secrets too that I've done to even drive up traffic for this. Another thing I've actually added was also a free HubSpot setup. HubSpot's really good. They have a really good free version, and some people don't know how to use it. So I will set that up for them, link it to my email automation and show them how to use it. And then it's up to them from there on. I'm not going to do much more than that, but that's kind of what I do. And I hope to work with all. I got to run because I have to get on a kickoff call for a new client. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much. And I will go. It's going to be 2 minutes over, but great to be here, of course. Thank you, Michael, for inviting me. Michael Bendit. I founded the group about 2 years ago, and my core business, and there's nobody else on the call who does this, is software development. And about 60% of my work is in the marketing world. I love to work with digital marketing agencies, even those that do their own websites or build their own websites or e-commerce sites, because they can't do everything. And sometimes they just have more work than they can handle. So we take on their overflow work. We do work on systems and platforms that they don't really have the internal experience with. There's many platforms out there. Yes, WordPress is very widely used and it's a very capable platform. And I do have teams that do WordPress for overflow. But we also handle, Drupal and Magento and Shopify and a whole range of other types of platforms. If this sounds like gibberish, just, imagine the world of marketing, how broad it is. Well, the world of technology is certainly as broad, if not broader, and even just in the world of software development. So my job is to make the match with one of my teams based on the need from the client. What is it they need? What are their constraints? Are they budget constrained? Do they have a particular technology that they have to use? How much are they willing to spend on design? Oftentimes I'm helping the clients work through some of that. Like they say, well, I have this new idea, but I can only spend, whatever, $30,000 on launching it. How do we fit, a minimal viable product within that $30,000 budget by leveraging offshore resources or dual shore resources, and make it work for them so they can take it to the market, start selling it, and then raise money, for example, if that's what they're off to do. So great leads for me are digital marketing agencies and startups that are looking to build something new, and all referrals for people just like yourselves. Sometimes it's like a friend who has an idea. That's the kind of thing I love to help out with. So thank you. I apologize for being over a couple of minutes. Thank you all for joining us. For those of us on the East Coast, enjoy your rest of your evening and the rest of the day for everybody else. I will see those who want to join again on Wednesday at 11.